today's class.
Ma'am, can I off my video because it's breaking the voice?
All right, Nisha.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's begin with a prayer. So, welcome you all to the end of this whole batch. We're having 2 more classes, maybe 3 classes. We'll be finishing the Gita. We are today finishing chapter 16. So let's pray. Om Agyana Timiran Dasya Tanandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarne. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So I think we'll quickly do this story. Would you all like to read one story before we start Gita?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So today we can have Misha, you can start reading. We are going to be reading this chapter 23. Last time we read about Pralamba. Pralambasura took the form of a boy, of one of the cowherd boys, and was wrestling. And we had where Balaram was carrying him on his, those who are winning, losing, they have to carry them on the other team has to carry them on their shoulders. And then, it became he had to carry Balram. It became so heavy that he, took his original form and he was killed by Balram, Pralambasur. And that way they were playing this game. Whoever is wrestling, they had a wrestling match. Whoever was losing, they had to carry the other person and walk around on his shoulders, carrying him on his shoulders. So they were playing that game. Now let's see what happens after that. So Misha, you can read this paragraph. While the boys were wrestling in pairs.
The boys were
Wrestling money, that fight they have, no? Usually boys like to have wrestling matches.
The cattle had strayed far and reached a
Munjakaranya. Munjakaranya is a forest. Okay, the name of a forest. Aranya means forest. And Munja is the name of a tall grass. So that forest had lots of tall grass. Lots of Munja grass.
A forest of a type of a dense forest, tall grass grew called Munja in Vrindavan due to the presence of the lush green trees. The heat of the summer was minimal, but outside Vrindavan, the heat was
Scorching.
Watching in Munjakarna, the cattle soon became thirsty and exhausted.
Exhausted, very tired. There was
not a tree under which they could take some rest. Their condition was pathetic as they had also lost their way back to Vrindavan.
Yeah.
While
Thank you, Misha.
Balama,
one more paragraph, read.
Yes, sir. And Balama and the other boys had already started on a search mission. They all reached Manjakarana, seen their masters. The cows and calves were greatly rejoiced.
Cows were greatly relieved to see Krishna and Balrama and their masters. Okay. All right, Arav, you can continue reading, but suddenly
But suddenly a wildfire broke out and spread it and spread it far and wide, burning the dry grass to ashes in no time. Hot winds blew, which further spread the flames. The cowherds and their animals were in utter distress. The boys cried out piteously oh, to Krishna for help. They knew only he could save them. Do not panic, said Krishna. Close your eyes for a second.
Yeah, and then we have this picture from the ISKCON Krishna book where you can see how Krishna actually swallows the fire. Only God can do that. There are so many forest fires happening, and but the Lord is not taking an incarnation in those forests, so they go on and on. It's difficult to put them out. Here we have when the forest fire happened, Krishna actually not only swallows, but in this case he gets everybody to close their eyes, and when they open their eyes, they find that they have been transported to Vrindavan. So you can read one more paragraph, Arav, and then Ritika can read the rest.
Yes, ma'am. Following the leader's instructions, the cowherd boys stood fixed in their places with eyes closed. The next moment, when they opened their eyes, they found themselves in the lush green meadow in Vrindavan where they were wrestling some time ago. There was no Munjakaranya and no wildfire anywhere near. Krishna had transported all from one place to another to the other by his yogic power.
Yes, these are one of the many miracles that Krishna was doing. Okay, Ritika, you can complete the rest.
Yes, ma'am. Wonderful. His companions exclaimed, "Oh, Krishna, who else but you can do this? Never can ever understand your mysterious power. You're only our saint. Glory to be you, dear friend." Krishna gave them a sweet smile, as if acknowledging the thanks, and said nothing. Gradually, the summer heat receded. Rain clouds filled the sky. For many days, it rained heavily, and the earth was covered with greenery. When the rain season came to an end, autumn set in with clear skies and soft winds and lotus blossoms in the water bodies.
Yeah, so this is a short story we are reading today. We'll proceed to the chapter 16 now. So I hope you enjoy this beautiful miracle which Krishna has done among the so many other miracles that we have been learning about. We'll just read a few more in the next 2, 3 classes before we continue. So, yeah, thanks for the thumbs up, Ritika. Let's try and understand, children, what we had done in chapter 15. We had learned about the inverted tree in the last class. So, the whole material world is like an inverted tree. That's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, 1 to 5. And it's actually a reflection. It's inverted because it's a reflection of the true spiritual world. And why is this tree there? Because of all the souls which are there in the material world, we are all having desires to enjoy separate from Krishna. That's why even now we find, that most people don't like to talk about God or Krishna because they still have so many desires of their own. They want to enjoy on their own. They think that, they should be being master of the world and they want to be God themselves. So they don't want to imagine that or understand that yes, there is a God who's in control and we are all just tiny souls, we are part of God, but we are all just a small fraction, very, very small fraction. And the spiritual world is actually much, much bigger, and so many souls are there who are following the instructions. And I gave you the example of a city and a jail. The city has got so many people who are all law abiding, they're all doing their work. But those who will, who will cause disruption to the law and order, they are sent to the jail. So similarly, this material world is for us who have, for those of us who have, wanting to be separate from Krishna. That's the reason why we are here, according to the scriptures. And Krishna constantly wants us to come back. And this material world is protected by Durga Devi. So Maya, Maya is actually the material modes of nature, and in fact, Radharani is considered to be the, form. She divides. She actually, incarnates or takes different forms of all the different devis. And so Maya is actually, like the Devi who protects Durga. She's called Durga because she protects this jail. She is the person who protects. And when people, who try to go back to Krishna, she tests them by giving them some more testing times. And those of us who start understanding that we actually belong to Krishna and we start loving Krishna, who is the, the supreme personality of Godhead, we understand that he is there, and we are able to attach ourselves and love Krishna so much that we can, with the acts of detachment, Krishna says that with the acts of detachment, we can cut this huge banyan tree and reach up, and we can go back to the real home where we belong to, which is Krishna's, the Vrindavan, or the, the Golok Vrindavan, or you can also say Vaikunt, where there is no more worries. And there's a description of the Vaikunt also. And then there are these verses from 12 to 15 where we come to know that Krishna is actually, he maintains each of our body, mind, and soul. He is the one who is in charge of our body, mind, and soul in the form of Paramatma in our hearts. And the summary of all the Vedas and Vedanta is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like Arav said, the main learning from Gita is that we understand that Krishna is there and we have to accept him, and he wants us to go back. So we know that this is actually like a hotel. Why do we want to beautify this hotel and, be attached to it when we know that we have to go back home? This material world is temporary. We all have to die. In chapter 8, Krishna talks about the final exam of death. And we try to run away from this final exam. We try to think that, oh, we can just keep enjoying. Like how through the year we enjoy, we forget that there's a final exam. Similarly, in this world, we forget that we have to give the final exam in which our soul has to, either take another body or go back to the spiritual world. And it can go to hellish worlds or heavenly worlds based on the type of karmas we are doing. And Gita, Krishna tells us, don't be attached to doing good deeds to go to heaven or bad deeds to go to hell. Instead, try to do a karma where you dedicate all your karma to Krishna. And so this is a picture of that. And then there is this link, actually last chapter 15, quiz link I had forgotten to send. So you can do chapter 15 and 16 both today. I'll come back to this page and I'll send it to you. Let's understand chapter 16. If you have any doubt, you can raise your hand or you can simply unmute and ask me. So this is a very special chapter where we can try and look at how many divine qualities we have and how many demoniac qualities we have. This chapter is called Daivasura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga. So it's a difference between the different divine qualities and the demoniac qualities which we all have, and that what choices do we have? Do we have a choice? So from verses 16, 1 to 6, Krishna first gives an introduction to both divine and demoniac. He actually gives 26 divine qualities and he gives 6 main demoniac qualities, and he goes on expanding about the demoniac nature in this chapter from verses 7 to 20. And finally, he talks about the choice that we have, as you can see in the picture. So Daivi Prakriti are the 26 divine qualities, and demoniac Prakriti are the, are called the Asuric Gunas, Asuric Prakriti, Asuric tendencies. So both divine and demoniac qualities, how do they come to us? From where do they come? They come because of our, Kritika, can you read this last part? From where are these divine and demoniac qualities coming?
Because of our association with the material modes of life.
Correct.
Demoniac qualities because of modes of passion and ignorance. Divine qualities because of mode of goodness.
Yeah. So if we try to attach ourselves to the mode of goodness by following all the different characteristics Krishna says, which are part of Sattva Gun, then we can get divine qualities. Whereas if we try to be in Rajogun, very over ambitious and greedy and all the time running after material pleasures, then we are in mode of passion. And if we are in mode of ignorance, we are completely closing our eyes and becoming atheistic, then we are in mode of ignorance, and all those will come. Then we will develop demoniac qualities. So let's see, all the time, actually, divine and demoniac qualities are there in all of us. All the time, the Sattvagun and on one side, Rajogun and Tamogun are fighting for attention. And we have to choose between what we want to do. So here we can see the divine qualities. There are 26, but we have chosen some of them which we can concentrate on. So we have to be fearless. The moment we know that Krishna is in charge, with our heart, if we can trust that Krishna is in charge and nothing wrong happens when Krishna is there. And if you're chanting, there is auspiciousness. And if you give your the fruits of your work to Krishna, then you're not doing anything wrong. And whatever you do will be, in Krishna consciousness will lead to only goodness. Okay? It means that you are doing only good. Even if it appears sinful to the world, it's actually good because you're dedicating it to Krishna with no selfish, desire for material pleasure. And you're accepting whatever Krishna gives you. Charity is also an important one where you try to give charity. You will learn in the next two, chapters, 17 and 18. Krishna will say what is the right kind of charity. Some people feel that just giving to anybody is equal to charity, but even charity is there in three modes. Determination is important. Krishna will talk about determination in three modes. Even each one has got three modes. And you must choose the determination which is in Sattvagun. Self-control needs to be there. You have to be, you're reminding yourself that you should be like a tortoise. Whenever there is any temptation coming and asking you to go after some material desire, you just become like a turtle, withdraw yourself inwards, and you should, it's very important that if you want to have love for Krishna, you display these qualities because Krishna loves those who are having these divine qualities. Simplicity is very important. You would have read so many times the value of simplicity. People who are simple, they are obviously more divine than your mind becomes complex when you're too involved in the material world. If you are involved with spirituality, you become a simple person. Non-violence is not hurting anyone's feelings. It's not only not killing and not being violent physically, but even being kind to others and not having envy. When you see goodness in other people, you will always think that, oh, this goodness is coming from Krishna. Because any quality in everybody around you, it comes from Krishna. It is because of Krishna within their hearts. So we don't feel envious. Austerity is when you will, practice whatever you do with your hard work, you stop doing your enjoyments and do what you're supposed to do. All that comes under austerity. Sitting and chanting is the best austerity you can do in this, Kali Yuga. Truthfulness, being honest, forgiving, being very clean, not only inside but also outside. Outside you're clean, your physical environment, you keep yourself clean. Also, your thoughts are pure. And having compassion for all living entities, seeing Krishna in all. So, example of fearlessness is like Srila Prabhupada, whose original name was Abhay Charan. He had, he at the age of 70, he went across to US in a cargo ship, and he actually had multiple heart attacks. I think 2 heart attacks on the way, and still he just trusted with the words of his guru, who had asked him, go spread in English, the teachings of Gita and Bhagavatam. And now, and before he died, within a few years, he built more than 108 temples across the world. And the ISKCON temples are actually flourishing. Even now, it's growing more and more. In India, it's catching up only now. Whereas all over the world, he has, so many followers. We have example of charity like Bali Maharaj, who gave his everything to Vaman Dev, who actually came to test him. And then we have self-control, the example of Urmila, the wife of Lakshman. She also could have insisted, I also want to go to the forest with you. But then she restrained herself. She said, Lakshman, I know that if I come with you, you will not be able to do complete service to Ram. And I know that's what you want to do. So you can proceed, you go, I will, stay back. So she actually showed a lot of self-control by not having the temptation to go and be with her husband Lakshman. And simplicity, Prabhupada says, is basically non-duplicity. Again, being very straightforward and honest comes under simplicity. So we have this famous story of Mukundananda's son Raghunanda, who was asked to take care of the puja for some days because his father was going out, and he offers laddus to the deity, and with so much of simplicity, he's waiting for the god to come and eat it. And the way he starts crying and gleefully telling Krishna to come and have it, Krishna actually appears and has those laddus. So simplicity is a very big quality when you're very simple and straightforward. And then this example of non-violence, where a man, a rishi, was trying to save a scorpion who was drowning. But every time he lifted the scorpion, it would sting him. And then he would just leave it because of the pain, and again he would try to pick it up to save him. So another rishi asked him, "Why are you doing this? You can see that he's biting you." So the rishi answers that he is showing his nature. His nature is to sting, but my nature is to protect and save. So I am trying to save him, though he is, following his nature. I also should not break my nature, my tendency to protect and save. So you stick on to divine qualities in spite of adverse circumstances. What are the demoniac qualities? You can see on the right side the six main demoniac qualities. You don't know what is to be done or what is not to be done. When you are totally lost and you don't realize what is right, you can always simply reach out to the Gita, or you can meditate, and you can say that whatever I'm doing, I'm offering it to Krishna, and you can, you'll be doing divine things. When you have no belief or no understanding of what is right and wrong, it's considered to be a demoniac quality. People who don't follow the Shastras, because earlier on, nowadays we say in science, only believe what you can see and hear and touch, based on your senses. Whereas your senses can be faulty. Human beings have a tendency to cheat. It's very easy to just, make a science experiment go towards one direction. It can be done. So people will have such tendencies. Even so many psychological experiments, people try to, cheat and get the results the way they think it should be. And whereas, these shastras, they come, you listen and you believe, you listen and you trust, because they're coming from authority. And doing that is divine. When you don't follow the shastras, people who don't follow the shastras, who don't want to give their trust and faith to authority by listening carefully and dwelling on them. Don't believe just blindly. You listen to them, have faith and dwell on them, reflect upon them, and then the realization will come to you also. So those who don't follow, they blindly they say, no, we don't want to follow. They are demoniac. Those who are self-centered are demoniac. Any improper behavior which hurts others, which is harsh, angry, those are demoniac. And if you're untruthful, it's of course demoniac, and unclean is also demoniac. These are the main things which we know, and we all sometimes, we indulge in them. Sometimes a doubt comes. That means, okay, this is a demoniac quality, and only with faith you'll be able to experience what the scriptures are telling us. So we are in this, this picture represents us. We are constantly being pulled by demoniac tendencies and divine tendencies. So we have to really think of what we should do. So here we can see two children are fighting, and here we can see two children are, peaceful and harmonious with each other. And it's our choice what we should do. And the purification process comes from chanting, from hearing. So children, even though in another 2-3 classes, the Bhagavad Gita class with me will be over, make sure you hear something about related to teachings of Gita and Bhagavatam. Continue chanting. Try to give your food as prasad. If you can't put it in front of the deity in your house, you can at least pray every time you eat, thanking God, because that's a form of sacrifice. You don't eat for your own pleasure. You first offer it to Krishna, and then you can enjoy Krishna's prasadam. That will be more tasty also. So let's just go through quickly some of the verses. In 16.5, Krishna is saying that the transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation. If you keep on holding on to the divine qualities, it's going to be freeing you. Whereas the demoniac qualities will certainly put you in bondage. You will have to be born again and again. So Krishna says, don't worry, for you are born with divine qualities. Because Arjuna suddenly has a doubt that, am I having demoniac qualities? And Krishna says, no, you are actually born with divine. So don't worry, with divine qualities.
So
Yes, who is saying somebody has a doubt? Arav has left the class. Misha, did you say something?
No, ma'am.
All right. So the class will be ending. Just rejoin. We'll finish this chapter. When should you start devotional life? Prahlad Maharaj, he started even before birth in his mother's womb. Dhruv Maharaj started at 5 years. So there is no, it's not, people think that, oh, when I grow old and when I have finished all my, when I retire, I will read Gita or I will, go for scriptures. But that is the wrong, it's the wrong attitude. You should try to teach even when you all become big and you have children, you should try to teach your children about spirituality the earliest possible time. Okay, so and what are the 6 qualifications that we usually are proud of, which Krishna has in full? Wealth, education, beauty, austerity, youth, and good family. So these are the 6 qualifications we are proud of. And those who are demoniac, they do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done, like I told you earlier. And they are neither clean, they don't have proper behavior, they are not truthful, they're all the time thinking of how to cheat others. So the demoniacs say that this world is unreal. They feel that this world is unreal, that there is actually no God, and it's only because of sex desire that this world is going on. And they have the only reason why they live is for lust, which means desire for sensual pleasure. And bewildered by false ego, strength, lust, and anger, the demon is even envious of God. Why should God be in power of everything? And he's envious of God also, and he blasphemes. That means he talks ill about religion. Attaining repeated births among species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons never approach me. So who is the person who doesn't come to Krishna, who is constantly taking birth, in different, species, and they want to continue enjoying and they want to continue being on their own, and they will gradually sink to the most abominable type of existence. So here in the Gita, Krishna is warning us that if we don't, come to Krishna, you will have to constantly take birth. And these are the 3 gates of hell. Lust, which means desire for material gratification, or even simple desire for honor. You want everybody to say, yay, good job. Even that is lust. It's not only sexual desire, but all, even the little desires come under lust. When you have lust for yourself, and when there is greed or anger, these are the 3 gates which are sure to take you to hell. So what kind of a philosophy will the demoniac people have? They will believe that this world is unreal, there is no God. What is their attitude? They feel, I am the center, I am here because I have to enjoy. I just must keep enjoying. That is their attitude. And what about demoniac people's engagement? They just don't bother doing illegal things, unbeneficial things, destructive work. What is their mentality? They are proud, lusty, all the time glorifying themselves. I am perfect. And what is the result? Such people will definitely end up being anxious. They'll be in illusion. They will go to more hellish planets, or they'll go having demoniac species they will take birth in, and they will glide further and further down to the more hellish or the lower species of plants and animals. So what do they think? I am the controller. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect. My enemies are defeated. I am happy. They think they're happy. They're actually, that's not happiness. And they say, I am the Lord of everything. So such kind of tendencies are demoniac. Lust, for example, is lust towards Draupadi, as you can see in this. The Kauravas were all enjoying when, Dushasan was pulling out the sari, and then Krishna comes and saves her. Anger, we can see here towards Pandavas. Duryodhana has so much anger against Pandavas, was very envious. And then greed is again Duryodhana wanting the kingdom of Hastinapur for himself, whereas it actually doesn't even belong to him. And here I was talking to you earlier, human beings have these defects. All of us can make mistakes. We can be illusioned. We have imperfect senses, and we have tendency to cheat. Krishna is telling us that these are natural in us. When we are born as human beings, these are there with us. That is the reason why we cannot trust and just go by the path of science. We need to, it's not that you shouldn't study science. You must study science. You must do your duties, but you must allow yourself to take in the scriptural knowledge which comes by hearing from what authority tells us. So in Satya Yuga, we had war between Varahadev and Hiranyaksha who are on different planets. In Treta Yuga, which comes after that, Rama and Ravan in different countries, one from India, one from Sri Lanka. In Dwapar Yuga, we had war between Pandavas and Kauravas of the same family. And in Kali Yuga, the war is within us, between good and bad within us. So, within the same person. So, it's closing in the fight between divine and demoniac. This one. So in Kali Yuga, the demons don't want to believe in God or Shastras. They are thinking Google God, right? They just believe everything that only Google is saying. And one should therefore understand what is duty, what is not duty. And when you understand that, when you know what is your duty and you know what are the rules, that is when you will be elevated. So we all have demons inside us. That's what we learned today. Kamsa, Shishupal, all these demons are inside us. How will we overcome it? Can you do something about, if there's something to worry, can you do something about it? Then go and do it. If you can't do something about it, then don't worry. Right? So basically, there's nothing to worry. And the life lessons are lust, anger, and greed are ways to self-destruction. So these are the 3 gates to hell, and we must control them. So, Misha, can you tell me from this, what do you understand? Everyone has a choice.
What, ma'am?
What is this slide telling us? Everyone has a choice. We all have a choice. What are the 2 lines? What is the first choice? And Ritika can tell me the second choice. The first choice is?
Ma'am, the first choice is perform acts for
Realization.
And follow the
Scriptures.
And escape the gates and
The 3
attain
gates to hell.
Expect
destination.
The supreme destination.
It is going back to Krishna. Ritika, can you say what is the other choice that we have?
Yes, ma'am. It is on us whether to which choice to go with. The second choice is rejecting the scriptures and sinning and miserably, degrading ourselves, and ultimately going to the gate of hell.
Correct. Thank you, Ritika. So we have choices, right? And so we finished chapter 16. So I don't think we need to come back to the meeting again. With this today, we finished chapter 16. It's a small chapter. It talks about, first of all, the divine and demoniac qualities. It talks about the activity, mentality, and qualities of those who are demoniac. And it tells us that the 3 gates to hell, lust, anger, and greed. So don't harbor desire. Don't be, angry. Control your anger and don't be greedy, right? So just keep chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and remember that this body is like this chariot. We are the soul. We are the soul, which is the passenger. The driver of intelligence should control the mind, and the horses are the senses running after the different sense objects. So the mind has to control the senses. Mind is controlled by intelligence, and the intelligence can be under control when the soul will give a direction. Okay. Then we have, we'll do this importance of holy name with the next chapter. I'll post the chapter 15 and 16 quiz links. Okay. So with that, we finish chapter 16 today. We are not going to come back. Hare Krishna, Misha and Ritika, thanks for staying with me today.
Krishna, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Hare Krishna, ma'am.
Ma'am, it is only 10:41.
Yeah, so today because it's a small chapter, we already finished. You can do the quiz of chapter 15 and 16, which I'm going to share in the WhatsApp group. Okay. Any questions you have?
No, ma'am.
No.
All right. So just chapter 17 and 18 are there. Make sure you join and finish the Gita study. Okay. Hare Krishna. Bye.
Hare Krishna, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.